Okay, early morning inspiration. Good morning, everyone. Folks going into work. This is that time of the year where the school buses have hit the ground. There's a lot of traffic going on. I'm about to get out of bed, and I thought about this, and I'm going to call this the tale of two people. This is going to be called the tale of two people, okay? And I'm doing this to bring about a point. Now, I mentioned before about the people who want to be the martyrs, who want to fly in with the cape and try to fix things, not knowing exactly what they're getting involved in because deep down they're trying to feed their low self-esteem. And what happens is they get involved with damaged people. Some of them seek out damaged people because that makes them feel superior. And then some of them seek out damaged people because they're still damaged. But they figure that they think that they're on the perfect path, and they think they've got all the answers. And they get involved with this damaged person with all these issues, and they go ahead and stay in it and tough it out with them for so long to the point where their damage has rubbed off on them. And it has a more detrimental effect on them than it does the person who is doing the damage. And you know what's really sad part about it is a lot of people out there that are damaged don't realize they're damaged because of either bad programming or a generational curse or overall ignorance of the situation. They do not know how their behavior is affecting people because they don't know what they're doing. They're being possessed by a contrary spirit, a damaging spirit, a hurtful spirit. They're literally being possessed by a demon that does not want them to make it in this world. And they don't realize why they do the things they do or why they say the things they say. And they keep going into negative situation after negative situation after negative situation, destroying relationships. They got a trail of destroyed relationships behind them. And they're not making any effort to change it because in their mind, they're the victim, or in their mind, they're angry, or in their mind, they're frustrated. It's a whole bunch of negative energy that has taken over their entire psyche. So they're not even aware of what's going on. And everyone who gets close to them winds up suffering more than them. And they either wind up leaving or dying. One of the two. And it's a sad situation. That's what that type of powerful negative energy does. Every person or thing that they get in contact with winds up either leaving or dying. And these type of people, you cannot go in and say that you're going to turn everything upside down for them and make things right. It's not your job, first of all. That's the Creator's job. And you have no business swooping down in there assuming that. And in a lot of these cases, the help that these people need is help that you refuse to give them. Or you don't have enough knowledge to give them, or you don't have the time or the capability to give them, but you refuse to give up because you're determined you're going to help them make this change. You want to be the motherfucking hero. And as I stated before, it boils down to your low self-esteem. That thing in your mind that makes you think that if you save everybody you get in contact with, if you step in, that you are going to be a better person and you're going to feel better about yourself. It's like an addiction for you. But in the meantime, your health is failing. Your mental stability is falling apart. And that person is operating in that same fucked up energy that they was operating in the day that they met you. But now you're on the decline. And you don't even see it. So I'm going to tell you about 2 different scenarios to kind of give you an example of how this works. And then I'm going to let you guys go for the day in peace, okay? I'm going to talk about a man and a woman. First one is going to be the woman. Ladies first, okay? And this is not just one story. This is the story of a lot of people. You have a woman who is taking care of someone. It could be a spouse. It could be a relative. It could be their own child. And they're going through a lot of mental health issues. They may have some physical issues as well, don't know. This woman has known for decades. I would say several years, decades, however, depending on the person's age, that this person has needed ongoing psychological help, has needed ongoing psychological medications in order to tackle what they need to tackle. But because of this woman's lack of understanding of the entire situation and lack of belief that there is a solution, she decides that she's going to use, I'm just going to dedicate my whole life to helping this person. They think they can love them out of the situation. They think that, I'm just going to, then after that they go into denial. And when they get tired, I'm just going to let them do what they want to do. And that turns into a disaster. They're always pulling them out of trouble all the time. School problems, I show up, talk them back into the situation. Eventually, they're not there anymore. Job problems, go to the manager or the owner or whatever it is, trying to talk them out the situation so they can stay there. They wind up losing the job anyway. Relationship situations, wind up going to the baby mama or the baby daddy, talking to them to try to help them hang in there. They wind up leaving that person and taking the child away from them. They wind up losing anyway, but this person is steady. They think in their mind, I'm just going to keep on trying because that person's never had that type of love in their life. But they fail to understand that the reason why that person has never had that type of love in their life is because of the unresolved issues that they have that interferes with the growth of the relationship, and it's too much for people. This person is always making excuses for this person no matter what. The whole world has bullhorned to the fact that this person has unaddressed issues that need to be taken care of. And in a lot of cases with these women, it's a simple solution, but they refuse to use it. They refuse to put that person into a special program for whatever issues that they have. They refuse to put them on that medication program to help address their issues. They refuse to do it. They put everything else above it. They put everything else ahead of it. All they need is this, and do not address head on what those issues are. Now, I'm going to tell you something about mental illness for those of you who don't know. Whatever your brain processes, your body follows. So if your brain is not processing properly, eventually you're going to start suffering physical problems because your brain is not sending those signals correctly. Okay? When you see someone who's not functioning on a level that they should be functioning at the particular point in their life, they need additional help. They don't need to be shuffled around from job to school to this house to that person to this person and shuffling them around in hopes that all of a sudden that one thing is going to help them out, when the truth is they have severe emotional and psychological issues that need to be addressed by professionals. That's all your ass got to do. That's all your ass got to do. What you should be doing is the minute that person is in your presence, is you should be spending every waking moment with that person trying to find some help and getting a regiment together and sticking with that shit. Because once they start having that assistance from a professional who's licensed and studied these things, you will see changes in their behavior that will reflect in their actions. But until then, all this shuffling around and excuses and, I'm just going to have this person talk to them, or all they got to do is just read this book and listen to this podcast, or all they got to do is go to this place and go to that place. If you're not addressing them psychological and mental issues, every single thing that they get involved with is going to fail. They're going to lose that job. They're going to get kicked out of that school. They're going to be kicked out of that house. They're going to be banned from the group. That's just the way it's going to be. And it's going to be that way until those issues are addressed. And that's just the way it is. So let's just say it's some years later and this person is still spouting that. Now, mind you, they got less of an audience now, because the people that used to be around them from the beginning, they didn't understand the game. But here it is 5, 10, 15 years later, and they're like, oh, Lord, here she goes again. So now the people that used to be around them, that used to be close to them, they're not even around anymore, because they see that there's no progress. They see that what needed to be done has not been done. So they're like, fuck it, I'm going to move on with my life, because this person obviously doesn't want this to change, and I ain't got time. I got shit to deal with in my own life. And that's what these people have done. So now this person's circle of influence is getting really small. Do they go ahead and do what they need to do? No, they're still being stubborn. Coming up with excuse after excuse after excuse as to why they should address the issue with this person with professionals and cut the bullshit alone. But when they look in the mirror, they got a head full of gray hair, a whole bunch of wrinkles, and their body is breaking down. Issues that they didn't have before this person was in their life. Their troubles have taken a toll on them. Now, mind you, the person don't hardly look any different than they did 5, 10, 15 years ago. Don't hardly look any different. But the person who is privy to it, who's trying to fix everything, they're aging worse and feeling worse than them. And it's because they refuse to deal with the situation head on. Hard head make a soft ass, don't it? So that's the first scenario. Second scenario, this is a man who has built a self-made, built a life for himself and everything. But one flaw that he has is that he does not know how to pick the right people to have around him. Have you run into that? Have you run into a person who is successful on paper, but when you see the type of people that they have around them, you're asking yourself, what the hell is he doing with these people? These people could be addicts. They could be bottom feeders. They could be people who have sketchy criminal backgrounds. These could be a bunch of gold diggers and treasure seekers. These are people that have no depth, no type of care or concern. They're not character building type people. These are a whole bunch of crab in the bucket type people who just hang around to get what they want from them. But this person is so consumed about their accomplishments and what they're doing, they don't even have time to even pay attention who's around him and who's sucking the life out of him. Not paying any damn attention. And on to compound things, this is the same guy that'll turn around when he sees somebody who needs a little bit of help. He decides to put on that Superman cape. He jumped in the phone booth and came out and decided he going to sit there and he going to handle everything for this person and don't know nothing about the backstory. And I mean, he's signing on the dotted line for them to get shit. He's giving them opportunities for jobs and money and connecting them with this person and this business and, putting them in the know and everything, and hadn't done an ounce of research as to why that person is in that position that they're in. Hasn't done any research to see whether or not this has been a pattern of behavior. Because they're looking at it as an opportunity to play Superman, because deep down, there's still that scared little boy that doesn't feel like that they amount to much. And this feeds their ego. This makes them feel like somebody. And unfortunately, this guy is never fully satisfied with what he gets, no matter what it is. So that's why he feels the need to get these people who are damaged and wounded or going through something, because he never gets anybody who's got it fully together. Never does. Always looking for somebody who's been crippled or hurt by something and still wallowing, looking for wounded animals to fix. That's what he's doing. Because that way, if he fixes them, then he feels better about himself, and that makes him think that he's a better person. He doesn't think that he's a good person. He doesn't think he's good enough. And the only way that he thinks that he's good enough, in spite of the accomplishments and everything else in the world, he feels that he's got to go find somebody who was clearly wounded or damaged and has not done any work to change it, and decide they're going to go fix everything for him. So that way the world can say, look at what he did for her. That feeds his ego. But see, one day he comes across that person and tries to put on the Superman cape, and that person has so much bullshit after bullshit after bullshit going on in their life, and because he hadn't done the research, he had gone in way too deep by the time he starts to find things out. And here it is, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years later, still finding out bullshit about this person. But it's too late now. He done turned around and either lived with him or married him, or probably got tied in financially with him. See, now his life is intertwined with this person, but now he done found out all this bullshit about him because he didn't do his research ahead of time. He didn't sit down and pay attention. He was so concerned about trying to fix some damn body, he wasn't paying attention to what that person was going through. Now he's beginning to learn that this person has had a pattern of doing this shit in previous relationships, playing the wounded animal to get taken care of. So now this man is not only taking care of the partner, taking care of all the partners, relatives who are just as damaged as they are, and taking care of their problems now. So here it is a decade later, and this man's looking in the mirror and does not recognize himself. He's got more wrinkles, more bags under the eyes, and more gray hair. And the number one thing that hurts him the most is the fact that he is getting close to retirement age, and he was on a track to be in a position to retire comfortably, and now he can't do it. He still got to put in 50, 60, 70 hours a week, and that was not part of his plan before this person came along. Because not only that, is the person coming in and putting all these emotional demands on them, they're going to have the audacity to put financial demands on them too. Want to turn around and say what he's got is not enough and that they want more. And they weren't even part of the process of him getting the first damn thing that they're sitting in the first place. The nerve. But see, that gives you an idea of what type of people they are. There are people out here that will purposefully play victim so they can get folks just like this who want to play Superman to come and take care of them. It's a game, people. And this poor man looking in the mirror, and he barely recognizes himself. Barely. Now he's got aches and pains and issues. Now he's sitting up there downing bottles of alcohol every single night just to forget about the stress and strain he's got to deal with. And in some nights, that's the only way that he could take his ass to sleep, because he knows he's got to get up the next day and do the shit all over again, working 12, 14-hour days. So I say this to say this, people. This is where you got to let your spiritual creator intercede. When you see somebody who is going through something that you know that you physically cannot do anything about, and you don't have the time to deal with, you need to accept the fact that, number one, I can't commit to that because of the time, because I'm involved with this. And number two, I'm not sure if I'm going to be the only one that can handle this. And number three, I don't have all the information I need to even get involved in this. People are so afraid to admit that they don't have the resources or the time to address someone's problem. And that's the problem with a lot of y'all. You already knew from jump that it was too much for you to handle, but you were too embarrassed to even say it, too proud to even say it was too much for you to handle. So now you turn around and you get involved in this situation with this person, and here it is years later, the same shit going on, and now you going through something. Who gonna be there for you? I don't see no capes flying around for you. So the only thing I could tell you is that until you wake up and realize that, and let that situation go to whatever professionals it needs to go to, or whatever location it needs to go to, let it go. You've done everything you need to do. Get the hell out of there while you're still here. Because if not, they going to wind up, I can promise you, that person that you did all those sacrifices and everything for, they're going to be the one putting dirt on your ass. I can promise you that. So with that being said, I'm going to let you guys go. Peace to you.